Hello and welcome to Algebra 1, Chapter 10.5, and today we're going to discuss the distance formula. So the distance formula is actually the Pythagorean theorem rearranged for two ordered pairs. And so you can see if I'm trying to find the distance from A to B, so this segment here, if I don't know that, what you can do is you can make a right triangle just by doing a vertical segment and a horizontal segment. And then you could use the Pythagorean theorem. Well, the deal is, though, this distance you get by taking x2, which is this value, minus x1, which is this value. That would give you your A value. And to get your B value, you would take, let's do y2 minus y1, and that would get you your B value. And so it's just built into this formula. And so make sure you have D equals the square root of the quantity x2 minus x1 all squared plus y2 minus y1 all squared written down. That is our distance formula. So to use it to find the distance between 2 points, we just plug in our 2 points. And so let's write down our distance formula so we can memorize it. So square root of x2 minus x1 all squared plus y2 minus y1 all squared. And then it doesn't matter which point you call point 2 and which point you call point 1, just be consistent within the problem. So let's call this x2 y2 and this x1 y1. And so then we have negative 3 minus 1 squared plus 0 minus 2 squared. Watch your signs. This becomes negative 4 squared. Notice I have it in parentheses so that when I square it, because when you square anything it's going to become positive. So negative 4 times negative 4 is 16 plus 4. So we get the square root of 20. And then we need to simplify that because we simplify our radicals. So 4 and 5, it becomes 2 square root of 5. And that's the distance between those 2 points. So let's try that again. So first of all, I would always write down your distance formula because I think that's the best way to memorize something, is to write it down over and over again. So I'm going to write down my distance formula. And then, like I said, it doesn't matter which point we use as our point 1 and which point we use as our point 2. So in this case, let's use this point as point 2 just because, and this point is point 1. So we get D equals the square root of 4 minus a negative 2 squared plus negative 1 minus a negative 5 squared. Watch your signs. So this actually becomes 6 squared plus 4 squared, which is going to be 36 plus 16, which is 52. And if we want to break up 52, it is the square root of 4 square root of 13, and thus we get 2 square root of 13. Julianne is sighting in her rifle for an upcoming biathlon competition. Her first shot is 2 inches to the right and 7 inches below the bullseye. What's the distance between the bullseye and where her first shot hit? So, if this is the bullseye, and let's just consider the bullseye 0, 0. So her first shot was 2 to the right and 7 below. We're just going to call that then 2, negative 7. So what's that distance? Well, we employ the distance formula. Just always make sure you're subtracting your x's and y's, but then adding in between. So let's do 2 minus 0 squared plus negative 7 minus 0 squared. So we have 2 squared plus negative 7 squared, which is going to be 4 plus 49, which is the square root of 53. And we're going to put inches on it. There we go. That's how you use the distance formula. So one other thing that we need to talk about is what happens if they give you the distance and you have to find a missing coordinate. So you just are going to use the distance formula and you're going to solve for that missing value. Very important that you fill out the entire distance formula. So again, I'm going to write it so I make sure I have everything in the right place. And let's call this x2, y2, and x1, y1, and we're going to plug everything in its spot. So d is 5, square root of a minus 2 squared plus -4 minus a -1 squared. And we are going to do a little bit of simplifying here real quick. It looks like we're going to get 9 underneath. So one thing that you really don't want to do is you do not want to actually work out this squared here. We're going to leave it like that. So from here, if I'm trying to get to this a, I need to get rid of the square root, and to get rid of a square root, I'm going to square both sides. I'm going to bring it up here. So that gives us 25 equals a minus 2 squared plus 9, because all that did was cancel the square root. So from here, if I will get my square root by itself, or my squared by itself, so we're going to have 16 equals a minus 2 squared. Now how do I get rid of a squared? I'm going to square root. And when I square root and I had a squared, I'm going to add a plus or a minus. So I have plus or minus 4. And we add 2. And so we have a equals 2 plus or minus 4. So 2 plus 4 is 6. 2 minus 4 is -2. They both work. Okay. And so what that tells me is from the point to -1. So from this point, I'm looking at something that has a -4 for a y. So probably should come down this way. -4 for a y. So I'm looking at something on this line that's 5 units from it. So there's one out here at 6, and then there's one back here at -2. And both of those are 5 units from that original point. So let's try that one more time. And so we have a missing coordinate. We have an a here. I find it easier to whichever coordinate has the a to make that my 2's, because your signs work out a little better. Oops, that's a y1. Try that again. Okay, so really all you're doing is you're filling out the distance formula and solving for a. Just got to make sure everything gets in the right place. So this time we have the square root of 58 equals 3 minus a -4 and a minus 5. And we're going to simplify. And if you want to, we could probably go ahead and change that to a 49 because it's going to be 7 squared. Okay, so the next step is to get rid of the square root. So I'm going to square both sides. So we get 58 equals 49 plus a minus 5 squared. And so really remember, the last thing you want to do is actually FOIL that out, because you're just going to have so much more work to do. I know you all love work so much. So subtract and we get 9 equals a minus 5 squared. Then to get rid of that squared, we're going to square root both sides, and you have to add a plus or minus. Right? Because if I'm looking for 2 answers, that's how I get those 2 answers. So we get a equals 5 plus or minus 3. 5 plus 3 is 8. 5 minus 3 is 2. And that is so a 2. Let's try one more time. It's a 2. Alright, there's your 2 answers. Both of those work. 3a and 3, 2 are both the square root of 58 units away from negative 4, 5. All right, that is it for Chapter 10. Let me know if you have any questions, and if not, have a great day, and I will see you in class.